My name is Roberta Seale-Cobiskey. I am a yoga therapist, and I have the privilege and honor of teaching each week, sharing actually, an adaptive yoga class for those who are curious, interested, or have been or been students of yoga for some time. So I really would like to share something that Krishnamacharya, who was an old Indian dude, and he lived to be 100 years old, and something that he shared really inspired me and to teach and to share this practice with everyone. So anyway, so what he said was that if you can breathe, you can do yoga. And so yoga, India's gift to the West. And so I'd like to take a moment to honor all the teachers that I've had through the years that have enabled me to get to this point, and friends, students, and so on. And so let's begin the yoga practice with a centering practice. And so an invitation to find a comfortable seat. And so it's challenging for our nervous system to calm down if we are uncomfortable in our bodies. And then when you're ready, I'd like to invite you to make sure that your feet are placed evenly on the floor on your footrests. If you are seated in a wheelchair, that your chair is turned off. And then let's root down through our sits bones. So maybe noticing where your bum and your thighs are in contact with your seat. And then energy moving in two directions. Lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. Our Buddha belly is soft, breath is calm. And then if you'd like, joining me in a gentle movement. So as you're ready, you reach your arm way up to the sky. And then slowly float your arm down. Gentle movement, reaching up, way up to the sky. And so let's explore adding a gentle breath to the movement. On inhale, reaching up, full length of your inhale. On exhale, float your arm down, the full length of your exhale. So it's as if on our inhale, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end point. On exhale, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Release both arms down by your side or wherever feels comfortable for you. And then as you're ready, repeating the movement on the other side if you'd like. Reaching your arm way up to the sky. And slowly float your arm down. Gentle movement, reaching up, up, up. And slowly float your arm down. Let's explore adding a gentle breath to the movement. On inhale, reaching up, full length of your inhale. On exhale, float your arm down, the full length of your exhale. It's as if on our inhale, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end point. On exhale, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Release both arms down by your sides. And then as you're ready, together, let's explore reaching both arms way up to the sky. Fold your fingers in, press into the palms of your hands. Or it might feel comfortable for you to place your hands on the back of your head. And so today I'm going to keep my hands on the back of my head. And together we can affirm, I am, I can, and I will. And because none of us get through this thing called life alone, I'd like to invite you to explore shouting out and placing I for we. We are, we can, and we will. And with this sigh of relief, release your arms down by your side. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. Maybe even taking a moment to notice which feels better for you. Resting your palms face up, or does it feel better to rest your palms face down? So I'm just going to tip my iPad a wee bit so you can at least see my hands. Okay. And so if you are tired, fatigued, I'd like to invite you to explore resting your palms face up, open to receive. If you, Charlie the cock, the rooster in the back 40 is crowing away, so if you happen to hear him, but he's making me smile, so that's a good thing. So if you are restless, scattered, palms face down can help ground us. Then roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And maybe even taking 2 fingers, placing them on your chin. And imagine a turtle. Tucking our chin in slightly. And then an invitation to begin to move your gaze downward. Moving away from the busyness in our brains and more towards our heart. Allow your facial muscles to soften and release. Our jaws relaxed. And then when you're ready, an invitation to, without changing anything, to bring a gentle awareness to your breath. And maybe noticing that as we inhale, things expand. On exhale, things contract. And noticing, is your breath long? Is it smooth, or is your breath jagged? And so from here, I'd like to transition into a simple, however not easy, breathing exercise that research shows can help with pain management and anxiety. So I'd like to invite you to place one hand on your Buddha belly, or yoga belly if you'd like. So the area between your navel and your pubic bone. Place your other hand on your heart center. And so if this placement of your hands works for you, wonderful. If not, place your hands wherever feels comfortable for you. So if it makes you lose your balance, we never forfeit balance to come into a pose or a movement. And then when you're ready, begin to deepen your inhale, lengthen your exhale. See if you can begin to smooth out your breath. So that your inhales and your exhales are about the same duration and quality. If this breathing exercise creates any anxiety for you, come back to your natural breath. And so at any point, if you notice your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, know that that's okay. That's the nature of our mind. Simply bring your awareness back to your breath. And then see if you can add a quality of softness to your breath. So you might imagine that you're hanging out with your favorite or your only furry friend. Or maybe imagining that you just tasted something delicious. And bring that same softness to areas of your body that you feel are too tight or knotted. And so our breath is long and smooth and soft as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And just for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, I'd like to invite you to keep this simple breathing exercise flowing. At any point, if you notice that your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, as often it will, bring a gentle awareness to the sounds around you. And so I can hear the sound of a car passing by. I can also hear the little creaks and cracks in this panabode cabin, my home. And then maybe noticing the gentle tone of my voice. And in a loving way, bring your awareness back to your breath. Your old friend, your breath. So wherever you are in your breath cycle, let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. Your natural rhythm may be observing the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. And then drop your chin towards your chest, towards your heart center if you'd like. And gradually blink your eyes open. And so falling awake, not asleep. Falling awake, not asleep. And so an invitation at this time to walk your hips forward in the chair. So come forward about 2/3 of the way, if that's available to you and you would like. If you would like to have the back of the chair, you're needing the back of the chair for support, honor that. And so yoga meets us right where we are. And so one of the prompts that yoga prompts that I like to use, it might be something that you can explore, is a rolled sticky mat along my spine when seated in a chair. And I understand that this doesn't work for everyone. Might be that if you have a yoga bolster, you can place that behind your back, a block, whatever feels comfortable for you. And so comfortable, in other words, enables us to be stable, sitting effortlessly upright. And so we'll repose, ground through your feet, center and ground through the soles of your feet. We want to keep our connection with Mother Nature. We tend to start losing that. Root down through your sits bones, so maybe noticing where your bottom and your thighs are in contact with your seat. Buddha belly is soft, breath is quiet. And so I'm just going to take this little jacket I have on off for comfort. And so energy moving in two directions. Lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. And so, yeah, I was just thinking, I hope I'm not sounding bossy. You can tell me, but you can't tell me a lot. So I don't want to be a talking head. So lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. Maybe rolling your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And so from here, if you'd like, and it's available to you, bring your palms together in front of your heart center. Lift your elbows slightly. And so if this placement of your hands does not work for you, you're placing your hands on your Buddha belly. And so we'll transition into meditation on the heart called sun breath. On inhale, extend your arms up and away. So it might be a little lower, higher. And then bring your palms back together at your heart center, or maybe your yoga belly. And so an invitation to keep this gentle heart opener flowing in your own time and rhythm. And if you'd like, imagine the sun at your heart center. And on inhale, imagining the radiant light of the sun radiating out all around you. And then gather that light and bring it back inside as a symbol of the light that's always inside us. And together we can explore making a humming sound as we bring our hands back to our heart center or Buddha belly. So bee breath sounds a little bit like a bee. And inhale, extend, and then inhale. Place one hand on your Buddha belly, the other on your heart center. And maybe noticing the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. And then drop your chin towards your chest. And gradually blink your eyes open. And so arms by your side, open up your armpits, wiggly fidgets. So shake your hands vigorously. Wiggly fidgets. You do a little bum dance. And so a gentle reminder that if anything we share with you feels uncomfortable, if it hurts, skip it. Come back to your breath. And so if we're focused on our breath, we are practicing yoga. And so that was my timepiece, my cell phone. And so I'll be looking at it occasionally to try and keep us on task in regards to time. And so I'm just doing a little bum dance, pulling the buttock flesh away from your sits bones. And our feet are placed evenly on the earth, on the ground, not in the air. And sitting up comfortably, effortlessly upright. Push down through one foot, then down through the other. And so it might be an energetic pushing down. Notice, do you feel one foot more than the other? And so if you have a yoga buddy that is with you, partner, friend, caregiver, they can place their hands on your ankles or maybe gently on your knees. That might feel amazing. So shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And so often in my classes, I like to share a piece of writing, and so poetry and novels, what time I can make for them really inspire me these days. So I would like to share a little piece in a book called When Women Were Birds, 54 Variations on Voice, Terry Tempest Williams. And so I think I may have read this last week, I'm not sure, but and so what if there were a hidden pleasure in calling one thing by another name? Ray Armantrout. So I may have misspelled his name, but here we go again. At least I made an effort. Intention counts or something. So I'll read it one more time. What if there were a hidden pleasure in calling one thing by another name? And so when you're ready, arms by your sides, spiral your palms open, broad through the collarbones, extend beyond your wrists, your fingertips. And so maybe noticing, does it feel better to have your palms face up or palms face down? And so we're grounding through our feet, center and ground through the soles of your feet. Lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. And then as you're ready, reaching your arms up into mountain pose. So maybe notice how it feels to have your arms up around your ears, if that feels uncomfortable. We're exploring gold pose. So I'm going to stay with gold pose today. So you choose. This is your yoga practice. And 3, 2, 1, float your arms down. Roll your shoulders back and down a few times. Give your hands a little shake out. Rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. And notice, how's your breath? Notice any subtle sensations. Trust that the sensations are there. It's not going to be a rocket ship across the sky. And so moving on, if you ever feel dizziness, nausea, tingling, but particularly dizziness and nausea, pain, if anything, any of the movements, poses exacerbate pain, come out of the pose or the movement. And it might be that you're into the pose too deeply, so you might want to explore coming back into it a little more gently. Maybe backing off a little bit is what's your body's asking of you. And so our body's talking to us. Our bodies talk to us. And lastly, if you need to leave the space for any reason, of course I have no control over that. You're mostly out there viewing, sometimes for recording. Mostly people are viewing the recordings, that's my understanding. Of course, do not resist any urges. So if you need to go to the washroom, whatever it is, you need to do to take care of yourself, please do. And know that I'll be holding the space. I'm here for committed for the duration of the class. So anyway, so let's continue moving on. So I'd like to invite you to tap your feet. If you are not able to feel your feet in the traditional way or gross way, visualize your feet, imagine your feet. So imagination is powerful. Tap a little faster. Tap out to the side. And so micro movements, visualizing the movement, focusing on what we can do. And then come on back center. And then if you'd like, maybe rolling up onto the balls of your feet and then roll back on your heels. And up onto your toes, back on your heels. And if you like, maybe alternate from side to side. So anytime we move asymmetrically, this is good for our brain health, particularly our memory. And so when you're ready, and maybe doing a little bum dance or walking your hips forward in the chair a little bit and then back. Sitting up nice and tall. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And from here, I'd like to invite you to maybe take hold of, actually let's see if we can place our hands in our hip creases. And so we'll transition into a gentle movement called Finding Our Balance. And so as you're ready, gently rocking forward. Noticing that sometimes when we come forward, our chin wants to jut forward. So tucking our chin in slightly and then rocking back. So gentle movement, coming forward. So not about seeing how far we can go. Just kind of that just right amount of effort and ease. So in your own time and rhythm for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, I'd like to invite you to keep this gentle movement flowing. And then come on back to a neutral spine. Release your arms down by your side. Rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. Take a moment, notice how's your breath. Notice any subtle sensations. And so moving on, let's begin to shift our weight from side to side. And so it can be interesting to close our eyes as we practice these movements. It might feel okay for you to release your arms down by your side, extending beyond your wrists, your fingertips. Or if you have armrests, you might want to lean on your armrests. And then maybe exploring bending your arms low in front of you. Find a space you can gaze on softly. And that helps us to focus our mind. So looking straight ahead, gently twist from side to side. So you might notice that saliva begins to pool or form in your mouth. And so that's an indication that our nervous system is becoming more balanced. And so balance, the equal distribution of presence throughout our entire body. And then if you'd like, maybe explore bending your elbows, fingers reach to the sky. And if it's helpful, you can bring your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance. And so moving with your breath. Twist from side to side. If you'd like to continue with your arms in this placement, great. Otherwise, maybe a little more challenging. Elbows in line with our shoulders. And moving with your breath. So I like to do practice where I can hear my breath as I move. That helps me to focus my mind. And so I'm going to inhale and exhale loud, audibly. And so feel free to explore that if you'd like. And moving at your own pace, so maybe a little slower than me or faster, up to you. And then going back slowly to neutral spine. Float your arms down with a sigh of relief. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Our Buddha belly is soft, breath is quiet. And take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice any subtle sensations. And so I'd like to invite you now to place your hands on your knees or thighs, and then draw your hands in towards your hip creases. And as you do, begin to turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. Be careful not to throw your head back. So it might be that your eyes meet where the ceiling meets the wall. And so you'll know your head's back too far if it's difficult to swallow. And we'll stay here for a few breaths or as long as feels comfortable. And 3, 2, 1. Come on back to a neutral spine. And then let's transition into a gentle warm-up called cat and cow. Warm-up for spine, so rounding your back. And so I'm going to turn my chair so that maybe you can see what's going on with my back a little better. And I'll check the time while I'm at it. Okay. And so bring your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance, if that's possible. See if you can place your knees so that they're in line with your ankles. It's okay to have your toes turned out a little. And if you're finding that your knees or your hips want to rotate inwards, maybe placing a bolster, a block, or maybe even just a touch of your hands might be enough of a cue to keep your knees in line with your ankles. And then as we're ready, on an exhale, round your back. And so this is the cat piece, happy cat. On inhale, arch your back. Exhale, round. So notice that as we exhale, our tummy naturally contracts gently in towards our spine. Inhale, arch. And so in your own time and rhythm, I'd like to invite you to keep this gentle warm up for your spine flowing. And I'm going to turn back so that I can look at the screen. It's too difficult for me to feel like I'm talking out the window, and I tend to mumble and I'm quiet spoken. So keeping this gentle cat and cow movement flowing in your own time and rhythm. And so move in a way that feels natural for you. So natural that your movements and your breath become one. And slowly finish up the movement that you're on. One back to a neutral spine. And take a moment to notice how this feels. How's your breath? So our old friend, our breath. And so our breath is one of our main teachers. It'll let you know if you're into a pose too deep or moving too quickly by getting short, jagged. You may find that you're holding on to your breath. And so that's an invitation to come out of the pose or the movement and take a rest, and maybe coming back into it or not. So it just might be, we have good days and better days, and maybe just giving it a miss. And so let's continue with hands in our hip creases and feet a little wider. And I'd like to share a practice with you that I'm calling stirring the pot these days. So an invitation moving from the hips to circle forward and then back. So circle forward and pressing our lower back towards the back of the chair. And so it might be helpful to have your feet a bit wider. I'm not sure if I stated that already. And so this movement can feel a little strange if you're not accustomed to it. And so bring a gentle awareness to the space in front of you. The space above you. And the space beside you. And especially noticing the space behind you. And trust that you're being supported. And always I like to think in terms of we. We are, we can, and we will. And then slowly moving in the other direction. And then come on back to stillness as you're ready. Toe heel back in so that your knees are about hip distance apart. Rest your hands wherever feels comfortable for you. So maybe palm up or down as desired. And notice, how's your breath? Notice any subtle sensations. And so moving on, let's actually bring our hands together. Rub your palms vigorously, energize your hands, warm up your hands. If you have a partner, a yoga buddy, invitation to have your partner maybe work with you with this, placing their hands, rubbing their hands together, and an invitation now to place your hands wherever your body's talking to you. And so sending some of that lovely prana energy from our hands, soothing to whatever place on our body is talking to us. And then rubbing our hands together one more time. And place your hands wherever your body's talking to you. And then we'll let that go. So, as you're ready, breath of joy. So we'll practice arm movements with our breath. And so remember, visualizing, imagination is powerful. And so here we go. Making sure that you're seated comfortably, effortlessly upright. In other words, stable. And so inhale, 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 and drop. So we'll do 2 more rounds. Inhale, 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 and drop. So not about forcing one limb to do what the other is. We just want our limbs talking to each other. Inhale, 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 and drop. Bring your hands a few inches apart in front of you. It's okay to rest your palms on your thighs if that works. And take a moment to notice any subtle sensations. Oh. And so I'm curious if anyone felt any subtle sensations between their hands. And so let's shift our weight from side to side. Feet are planted firmly on the earth, not in the ground or in the air. Maybe tapping your toes a little. Sit bones sharp on the chair. Lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. And then when you're ready, tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And so from here, let's come into a side bend. So I'd like to invite you to take hold of the underneath of the side of your chair. And so it might be your wheel or the side of your chair. And so of course you're sitting in a sturdy chair, your brakes are on if you're in a wheelchair. Release your other arm down by your side, spiral your palm open. And then reach your arm way up and over. So if reaching your arm up this high doesn't work for you, maybe place your hand on your shoulder, or it might even feel better to have your hand on your hip. And so I'm going to choose to reach my arm way up and over today. And turn your gaze down towards the floor to release your neck. And then breathe into your rib cage. Can you imagine breathing in below your rib cage? And slowly come out of the pose on this side. And take a moment and we'll come into the pose on the other side. So release your arm by your side, spiral your palm open. On inhale, reaching way up and over. So we're stretching from our armpit down along our rib cage all the way down to our hip. Make sure your sits bones are sharp on the chair. And 3, 2, 1. Slowly flow your arm down. Release both arms down by your side. And then rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. And take a moment to notice how this feels. Okay, so from here, let's come into another version of a seated twist. So if you're able to bring your feet a little wider than the outer hip bone distance, go for it. And then coming into the pose, maybe placing your hands on your thighs. And so we don't want to come into our seated twist, collapsed. So we're sitting up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, reach your hand over to the opposite thigh or leg. Release your arm down by your side. Take hold of the sides of the chair, maybe reaching behind you. And so you'll notice we're already coming into the twist at this point. And so maybe exploring going a little deeper. And so, of course, if you know a deep twist is contraindicated, honoring where your body is. And so lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. And then twist. Head turns last. And so soft yoga belly, quiet breath. Unwind, come on back center, take a moment, and then we'll come into the pose on the other side. So reaching your arm across, hand comes behind you, beside you, wherever you can reach comfortably. On inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. So see if you can resist the temptation to turn your head to its full range of motion. And this is your twist today. Slowly unwind and rock and roll. So moving in and out of the twist. Third breath, reaching up to the sky. Oh, and exhale, twist. So again, in your own time and rhythm, just for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable. Moving, flowing. And then finish up the movement that you're on. And come on out of the pose, in the movement. Okay. And so let's actually just shift our weight from side to side a little. Moving the buttock flesh away from your sits bones. And if your feet are wider than outer hip bone distance, maybe keeping them wider. And so the twists and the side bends are pretty intense spinal movements. So we need to realign our spine, and we can do that with a gentle seated forward fold. And so for this, I'd like to invite you now to take hold of the underneath the sides of your chair for stability. And so hinging from the hips, come forward. So to my knowledge, 20% works for most. And so close your eyes slightly, or soften your gaze if that feels better for you. And then breathe into your lower back. And imagine that your lungs are in your lower back. So obviously we can't place our lungs in our lower back, but prana, circulation, life force goes wherever our breath and our thoughts go. And then coming out of the pose slowly, press down through your inner heels, maybe one hand on each near thigh. Then come on back up. And then come on, seated back in your chair comfortably in preparation for a short guided meditation and your final relaxation. And so make sure that you have what you need to feel warm. So you may find that you'll start cooling down at this point. And so I always like to have one of my favorite blankets nearby during my yoga practice. And so sometimes not only does a blanket or a bit of weight on our thighs create warmth, but it can help ground us as well. And so I'm also going to place this rolled sticky along my spine again. Rolled sticky mat. And actually it's feeling chilly. I left the window open, so I'm just going to unfurl the blanket a little bit more than I might usually. And I'm actually going to cross one leg over the other. And so find a comfortable seat. And then when you're ready, maybe placing your hands in a mudra. So mudras are hand gestures that help us focus our mind. And so just kind of change of heart. I'm not going to cross one leg. I'm going to place both feet on the ground. And so choose whatever hand gesture you'd like. So it might be that we practice diamond mudra. So that's when our right hand's resting on our left, thumbs connect, and draw our hands in towards our hip creases. And so I think this is known as the Earth Mudra. It helps to connect us with Mother Nature. And so look down and into your heart, see what you can see. And then imagine that you're breathing into your heart. And so today's meditation is silent, and then we'll transition into our final relaxation from there. So come into whatever comfortable seat you'd like for your final relaxation. And so if you're in a power chair and you're able to recline in your chair, go for it. Make sure that your head and your neck supported. If you have the ability to put your legs up on a chair, go for it. That can feel comfortable too. And if you're in a chair, a solid chair, against a wall like I am, you might be able to put a block or a pillow behind your head and just lean back. And so close your eyes softly. If that feels comfortable for you. Otherwise, soften your gaze. So soft Buddha belly, the area between our navel and our pubic bone. Soft palms, quiet breath. Allow your breath to reflect the pose. Serenity pose. Corpse pose if you'd like. Relax your jaw. Unclench your teeth. Let there be a little space between your teeth. Soften your lower jaw. Soften around your temples. Soften the area between your eyebrows. Wide forehead. And mentally, if you'd like, on inhale, say let. On exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. If it's challenging to quiet the mind, sometimes placing our hands on our yoga belly and bringing our awareness to our breath can be helpful. And without changing anything, bring your awareness back to your breath. Thank your body. Thank your body again. And now see if you can begin to deepen your inhale, lengthen your exhale. Wiggle your fingers and toes, hands and feet, waking up. Maybe rubbing the tips of your fingers with your thumbs. And come on up seated comfortably to finish up your yoga practice. So bring your hands together at your heart center. So it might be that you place one on the other, or maybe in prayer pose. And so take a moment to bring the intention that you said at the beginning of the class back to mind, and then let it go. Take a moment to honor yourself and everyone else who joined in the practice today. And honor yourself for joining the class. And so the teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher, in each of you. And thank you to everyone who brought this class, helped make it happen today. And so